Medigroup Physician Services presents Medigroup's Frank's Fast Five with Healthcare Executives, produced by Bridget Wilson and Carrie Peters. Today's guest is Kerriann Greenhalgh, founder and CEO for KeriCure Medical. Now, here's your host, Medigroup's Frank Gillespie.
Well, hello and welcome to another edition of Medigroup's Frank's Fast Five. Today, ladies and gentlemen, I have the privilege of talking with Dr. Kerriann Greenhalgh, founder and CEO for KeriCure. Dr. Greenhalgh, it's an honor and welcome. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. This is always fun. It's nice to meet you, and it's nice to take some time with you this morning. So thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Dr. Greenhalgh, I'm just going to jump right into these questions. What inspired you to start a wound care company?
Oh, geez. Well, I've had a passion for it since my work in grad school. So I was actually working on a really unique nanopolymer drug delivery system. I'm an organic chemist by trade. So I got my PhD from the University of South Florida. Go Bulls. And we're working on this technology to help water insoluble drugs get into the body. And I was kind of, came into the lab and said, I'd really like to look more topically, and really got inspired by burn wounds specifically. So, burns have such a unique environment, and you get every type, strain, every type of microbe in the burns. So, within 24 hours, you've got a ton of gram-positive staph, strep. Within 72, you're looking at gram negatives, fungal get in there. So it really is a very difficult environment to treat. And so I thought, instead of using the system for just a single drug, why wouldn't I look at having multiple drugs in here and try to really target and find a solution that could kill everything in these burns?
Absolutely.
And that was actually the basis for my PhD.
Okay,
So
great.
I've really been interested in that, in wound care, in chronic wound care also, but really burn wounds was a passion project of mine, going through school. And so,
Sure.
I saw how I could do something with that technology, not necessarily what I did in grad school, but kind of saw a potential for that, later on as a need in the market for wound care. And that's really how I got interested and thought that this could be something that I might be able to commercialize and help people with. So
No, that's fantastic. What a great story. So, I mean, really, my second question was, how did your background and experience lead to the development of KeriCure Medical? But I think you've kind of answered that, but maybe there's some more to it.
yeah. So obviously being a scientist and a chemist
Right.
is great for developing a company, but
You bet.
with wound dressing, you've got to have the regulatory side too. And my first job out of grad school, I was working for a medical biotech company working on collagen products, and somehow they decided to give the organic chemist the lead on commercialization.
Sure. Wow.
So I took a collagen mesh from phase zero all the way through, got the company their first 510K, and it was
Wow.
quite the learning process.
Bet.
But I had some fantastic mentors there, some great consultants we work with that really taught me the ropes of regulatory and working with the FDA and what the process was, how to create a design history file, just all the things you need. And that really, between having the science background and then having that experience,
Sure.
working through the regulatory process on another product, if I didn't have those two key pieces, I don't think I would have been comfortable, moving forward with the
Sure.
technology and trying to develop it, because, you can have the best product in the world, but if you don't know how to get through the FDA, it's not going anywhere.
Exactly. And it's the same thing in the GPO world too. I mean, there are a special set of folks that definitely deal with the governmental contracts because it is a different animal. So
Yeah.
regulatory is a different animal from the scientific background and stuff that you had to. So interesting how you had to marry those two together in order to continue to move forward with KeriCure. That's awesome. Um, well, are there a couple of key things that you want to indicate that were success initially for KeriCure?
Yeah. So, it was kind of funny because when I first decided to, branch out on my own and do this,
Yeah.
my passion's always been in burn wound care, but in professional medical wound dressing. So really looking at the chronic wounds, burns, emergency trauma care. And within 2 years after I formed the company and we were really out there fundraising and getting to know everybody, and I had the products developed, getting ready, going through the FDA process. And we got a call from Publix. It was a very large grocery chain in Florida,
Yeah.
in the Southeast.
I
And
go
they
there.
said they wanted my product as a liquid bandage in their first aid section. And so we ended up taking a big pivot and launching over the counter first as a
Oh,
spray
wow.
on liquid bandage. And there's really a unique little short story I'll tell there. My
Please.
husband and I were dating in grad school, and he has this really nasty scar on his hand. And I was like, what's that from? It turns out he had gotten a small cut, like right here between his thumb and forefinger,
Right.
working on pool equipment in grad school. And he ended up getting this horrible MRSA infection and almost lost his hand
Oh,
from a small cut. And I said, are you kidding? I could have saved that.
yeah.
I could have prevented that with my product. And so that was kind of my aha moment. Like, wait, you did everything that was available. You tried the super glue style liquid bandage.
Right.
Band-aids didn't stick.
Right.
Nothing worked. And he ended up with this horrible infection and almost lost his hand. So I
Wow.
was kind of like, there's a clear need in the market for something that really works, especially on movable parts of the body, because our technology and the polymer I created is super elastic. So it
Okay.
stretches and moves in every direction and still keeps that barrier to prevent infections. So I
Gotcha.
was like, I could have prevented that.
Yeah.
Duh. Why don't I do this?
Yeah, exactly. It looks like you've been successful. Congratulations. Is there, without going into a lot of detail, is part of your formulation, and I'm not a clinician, but does it contain silver nitrate, or does it have anything to do with silver nitrate? Is that part of the combination, or is that a totally different thing?
No, so we initially launched with just the wound barrier and liquid bandage products. So it was literally just my polymer designed in a water-based system. So
Okay.
we create that moisture environment and then provide a protective barrier. And
Okay.
then later on in about 2017, 2018, I started playing with different silvers, to add an antimicrobial. And
Yeah.
we actually have a really unique silver in our formulas that we have on the market now, and
Nice.
it's a pure silver particle with a silver tetraoxide coating.
Okay.
So basically, you get 4 electrons killing bugs instead of one.
Wow. That's
And
huge.
because it's natural silver, it's native elemental silver, you don't have those toxicity issues like
Right.
you get with silver nitrate and the
Okay.
silvadines and the silver sulfur products. None of that. So we're very low toxicity, but it has 10x the killing power. I think our studies show we get rid of everything in wounds within 10 minutes or less, which is
Yeah,
pretty unique.
yeah, that is huge. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Two more quick questions. What has been
Yes.
the most rewarding part of running a biotechnology company for you?
Oh, obviously, every time I get customer feedback saying we helped heal their pet, or
Yeah.
it helped them not get a scar, or they were just shocked how fast this healed, I love that. I love
Okay.
getting feedback from our customers and them telling us how they save thousands not having to go to the vet because their poor dog had this cut and they just couldn't
Right.
get it to heal. We have a whole pet line just because I had so many people message us and ask if they could use it on their pets. And I was like, yeah, of
Yeah.
course. So we developed a whole pet line.
Man, that's cool.
Specifically, I'm a huge pet rescue person. I've got 4 huge dogs, a pig, chickens. I got everything. So we
Yeah.
use it a lot here
Oh,
too.
I love it. That's great. That's great. I love your energy too. You're just so electric. It's fantastic. Okay, last question. What message would you give to other young women, Dr. Greenhalgh, starting out in the industry?
Yeah. Oh gosh. I mean, I've kind of been through it all. So,
Yeah.
fundraising is interesting as a woman, especially when I was a little bit pregnant doing it. That was fun.
Yeah.
A lot of it pregnant.
Yeah.
Thought I was hiding it. I wasn't. Um, yeah, and you talk about my energy. I remember the one that really stood out to me was I was on a call with, 6 or 7 angel investors in a group, and
Sure.
the ones I was explaining the technology and how excited, it could be. And they told me I needed to stop giggling and be serious. And I was like, oh, okay.
Uh-huh.
So
Got
then
it.
I just laid out all the facts. And then someone else got on the meeting and they said, this is amazing stuff. Thank you so much for doing this. And I was like, thanks.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, don't let that take you down, because I then turned around and raised $500,000 within the next 2 months. So
Man, oh man, that's fantastic.
some
Awesome.
people will just not like it because of the way you present it. But if you're selling it and you're true to yourself, your passion comes through, and the people that understand that will get it, and they'll buy in. So don't let that
Absolutely.
dissuade.
Absolutely. Good information with a smile never hurt anybody. I love it. So,
Exactly.
well, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. It was great to get to meet you on this call, and a fantastic recording. And I appreciate you making the time. And
Absolutely.
we'll
Thank
look
you
for
so
our,
much, Frank. We appreciate being invited, and we're so happy to be a part of Medigroup and part of your catalog and
we're
reaching out to
happy.
your customers.
No question about it. We're very thrilled to have you and look forward to working with you to grow the contract.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Take care.
You too.
This has been Medigroup's Frank's Fast Five with Healthcare Executives, produced by Bridget Wilson and Kerry Peters, and hosted by Frank Gillespie. Special thanks to Kerriann Greenhalgh, founder and CEO for KeriCure Medical. This has been a presentation of Medigroup Physician Services.